Doing backups. This involves simply copying and pasting the files to two other physical locations. We recommend you to not overwrite, but make a copy. So for example, if we were backing up Marlett Park from the working drive to backup drive 1 in the project's directory of backup drive 1, we would first rename the existing Marlett Park directory to something like Marlett Park Old. Then copy Marlett Park from the working drive and paste into the backup drive 1 the updated version. Once we know the copy and paste operation was successful, we would repeat procedure with backup drive 2. Once that procedure is successful, we can delete the two renamed old. So I know this sounds a little bit technical and complicated, so I actually do have an example for you.
Hello, welcome back to another semester. My name is Howard Hahn. I'm Assistant Professor in the Landscape Architectural Regional and Community Planning Department, and I teach landscape design implementation. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about backups and the importance of backups. As you know, or will know, that we have a very technology-dependent curriculum, and if you would lose your data, it could really be the end of your semester. So it's vitally important that you do keep backups, every day. I'm going to share some of my tips. I'm not saying it's the best way, but one of my philosophies is just keep it simple. It's very important that it's simple so you actually do it and don't put it off. I keep basically two separate hard disks in my office. You'll also notice that this is how I store them. They're unconnected. It's very important that, at least for I think, that you keep it physically disconnected. In my own experience, I had a case where I had a power surge that took out my entire computer. I had two backups, internal disks in my computer, so I thought I was backed up, redundancy, but it took everything out, the video card, everything. So now I totally have it disconnected from my computer. You have a big one, a big external hard disk like this one, or a smaller one. I use these for my weekly backups, and then for my daily backup I just use a flash drive. Basically each week I back up to one of these, and then the alternate week I back up to the other one, and I just alternate back and forth. That way I always have a copy no more than a week old. At the end of the semester I usually back up to a third disk, which I keep off-site. To repeat again, it's just critically important that you do this. Every semester I say this, and every semester someone loses data, so for your own good, back up. I'm going to show you now, this is my weekly backup. You'll notice I have a large hard disk. It could be a small one, that's fine. I also have a small one, so it's bi-weekly. I alternate between each week. But for my daily backups, I just rely on a flash drive. One thing you'll notice is that this hard disk is totally physically isolated. So I just plug in the USB, plug in the power, turn it on, and then I'm ready. I'm going to now demonstrate my copy process or my backup process. Typically I work with two open windows. On the left, this is my source or original data. On the right is my target or backup disk. I usually just back up those folders that I've worked with during the following week. In prior weeks I've backed up all these other folders. I haven't made any changes, so therefore it's not necessary to do it this week. So I'm just going to work with my curriculum folder. Another thing that I do is I rename this curriculum folder, and I can preface it with an X or perhaps old or even the date. The purpose of this is that if I would use the same name and just do the drag and drop, if my source disk would fail during that process, I'd have a half-written folder on my target drive. So therefore I'd basically have two bad copies, the source that failed and then a corrupt folder on my target. So once I've renamed that, then I just drag and drop my curriculum left to right, always in that order. And this takes usually not too long since it's just one folder. Once I've copied, I'm convinced that I have a good clean copy. At that point I go ahead and just delete the old curriculum folder.